We're doing a little episode on the business of relationships. You guys have heard plenty about Becca. She is typically behind the camera over there, both for Demoted as well as Corp Bro. We're going to talk about how we make it work.
I have to start by saying these chairs really are uncomfortable.
Yeah, they are uncomfortable.
I thought you guys were just complaining all the time, but these suck.
Demoted. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Moterheads, welcome to another edition of Demoted, though this one is slightly different. You may recognize my co-host here is not Natalie.
Not Natalie.
This is my wife. Say hi to the Moterheads, gypsy woman.
Hi, tens of Moterheads. So nice to meet you guys. Becca here.
First of all, shout out to Nat. Not here today. She's in Utah at some just blowout wedding. She's in the middle of her wedding phase.
Did you see the video she posted with all of her cowgirl outfits for the rehearsal dinner?
Is that the same as her cowgirl jumpsuit that she wore last time? Her painter's, painter's
that,
outfit?
That one didn't make the cut, but she had all the different options. Nat, we hope you're having a blast. Your outfits all looked fire.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're not going to get the same level of fashion here today from us. Sorry, I mean, look, we kind of match. I mean, we do match. We both go in Navy.
Match. Well, our producer wrote, please be Corporate Bro Classic or The Real Ross.
All right, so relationships, the business of them. Businesses and relationships have a lot in common.
Let's find out.
At the end of the day, and I read this somewhere, and I'm going to read it now, love and marriage are a business decision as well as a matter of emotion and attraction. Building the business and family unit is shared goals to both make money and help each other accomplish your individual goals and also your collective goals, which I think makes a ton of sense. And so we're going to break it down. How do we do it? Is there anything you want to just say right out front here?
Yeah, I think this is so funny. Like, it's so weird to sit next to you and actually like be in this spotlight, because I think so much of this experience has been a learning experience for me behind the scenes, like seeing you in the light. And the light is not somewhere I normally find myself. So I think
welcome to the light.
Some getting used to. But business of relationships, I think, is an interesting title, because we're talking about our business, we're talking about our relationship, and then we're going to talk about how we make both of those things work.
I think we need to start earlier than that. So let's go back to a question a lot of people ask. Who the hell is Becca?
I hate that question. That's like getting asked for a fun fact in a meeting. It's like so open-ended.
I'm usually just like, yo, that's that chick. Like, I don't know. She's tight. Like, we hang out a lot.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. She beat me in fantasy football 10 times in the past 3 years.
Okay, we're not going to talk about personal stuff.
Who am I? Born and raised in the Bay Area, San Francisco through and through. Had a very different career path before joining Ross's team. I don't know if we want to go through question by question, or if you want me to just give my a brief bio.
Well, why don't we start with where we met?
The high school.
We met in high school. Yeah, I was. I guess we were 14. We were 14 when we met.
Yep.
You were dating older dudes. I was dating just tons of chicks. I was just like running through the school left and right. Like the story I usually tell is like, I was the high school quarterback and Becca was the nerd with the glasses. You know, like as soon as she took him off, so hot, so hot. And everyone was like, this is a match made in heaven.
I think we should do some fact checking. We didn't even have a football team, and your brother may or may not have lost his virginity multiple years before you did, and the whole school knew about it. Okay. So I'm pretty sure that the picture you painted is inaccurate.
Well, we're not always going to talk about the super personal things, but since you brought it up, yeah, it was a school-wide scandal because I was dating somebody who was, let's just say, making me wait. Who was that I was dating again?
Square would be another word I would use to describe myself at the time.
Yeah, you were square. You were an absolute square. So I was the cool athlete and you were the square.
No.
And yeah, so
you do not get that credit.
Maybe we didn't have a football team, but you know, baseball, basketball.
I would just like to paint a picture of Ross in high school. Basketball shorts every day.
Sweet.
Quick silver sweatshirt.
Sick.
Backwards Braves hat.
Yep.
What did you wear for shoes? Probably flip-flops.
Some K-Swiss.
Nah, you would have loved it. Toes out. Not cool.
I was cool.
I'm going to put a picture up here as proof.
Yeah, but I was cool. I was cool though. That's the thing. I actually was cool. I mean, I hung out with the cool kids. Mm-hmm. Tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Did I hang out with the cool kids?
Uh-huh.
This is like a presidential debate where we're not going to get any real answers. Okay, less about me though. More about you. you in high school already knew what you wanted to do with your life.
Yeah, I knew I wanted to work in schools. I knew I wanted to work in underserved communities. But I didn't know exactly like where or what I'd be teaching or any of that. I just knew I was going to be in schools and I was going to be in underserved communities.
And
I did that.
You did that.
So I went to college. Then I spent 2 years in Teach for America. Teach for America is wild. They place you and they just say, here's your city and here's your job placement. I was placed K-12 bilingual ed. So I was like, oh.
Right, because you're fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, I'm fluent in Spanish.
So just give them a little taste of something.
Odio cuando él dice eso. Tiene que hablar ahora. Tiene que decir algo ahora. Like, I'm not ready to say anything.
Algorithm aura. Yeah, no.
No.
I have the algorithm.
Say something.
Say something nice about me for all of our Spanish-speaking Motorheads, because we know there's at least one.
Aunque Ross quiere que todos piensen que es alguien muy cómico, con mucha energía, la verdad es que tiene un corazón muy cariñoso.
What?
You have a really sweet heart, even though you want everyone to think of you as this really funny, big, comedic guy.
Wow, that was nice.
Yeah.
I heard corazón in there, and I was like, yeah, I know that word.
Yeah, you got one of those.
I also heard comico.
Yeah. That's good too.
I'm a bit fluente.
But I taught fourth grade newcomer immigrants. I was the third teacher to pick up that classroom that year. So I started middle of September and 3 teachers had already quit. The first day there, I showed up and the janitor said to me, do you remember? He said,
I don't remember what he said.
Good luck in there. And I was like, oh my God, how bad can it be? Turns out it's a wild ride, but I absolutely loved it. Fourth grade newcomer immigrants, brand new from Puerto Rico, from India, from all over. It was an incredible experience. Absolutely fell in love with it. Spent my 2 years in Massachusetts, came back to the Bay Area, worked in school leadership at a really big public school for 8 years, and then actually became a school principal in the Mission District of San Francisco, smack in the middle of COVID, which was quite the time to be in school leadership.
So the truth is we had very different realities. I would complain about quota and people not picking up my calls and, tech stuff.
Yeah.
And you would complain about.
I was dealing with like student safety issues. What's in that student's backpack? What's happening at home? Actually, do I even have a teacher to cover that classroom today?
Like, yeah, real shit.
Real shit.
Real problems. And all of us tech people are like, oh my God, we're making 6 figures and there's no snacks. Perspective. So you went through this lifelong course of education and you realized, wait a second, this is kind of shitty.
I don't think I realized it was kind of shitty. I think I had a wake-up call after a year of being back from the pandemic and working in schools coming back post-COVID. And I realized I didn't take care of myself at all. I was like not okay at the end of that second year.
Because you were waking up at like 5 a.m. You were like out of the door by 6, and then you were home around 7.
Yeah. And I just like had no time for myself.
Yeah.
I was constantly on like, talk about Sunday scaries, putting out fires. Like it takes a real toll on you.
Yep.
And I think I was just at the end of that year, I was like, I need a break. I need to do something different for a bit.
And now?
Yeah. I didn't think I'd be here, but
didn't think you'd have just a chance to, I don't know, bang your coworker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what I was going for. That was my career pivot.
That was your career
pivot.
How
do I bang a coworker?
Yep. So how did your experience in schools carry over to managing your boy?
Oh, there's a lot of similarities. In school leadership, you have to be really on top of people, on top of your deadlines, on top of, really clear communication, make sure our systems are really in place. See, the thing with Ross is he's big time creative, awful with logistics. Like
that's true.
If he puts something on his calendar, we celebrate it. And if it's in the right year, we give him like major kudos. Like he cannot keep track of shit. So all of my logistics background comes to play in the work that we do together.
Managing children.
You're just a big kid.
How many teachers and children did you manage?
I had like 600 students and probably like 50 staff.
I'm like the equivalent of 50 staff.
Yeah, there's a lot of personalities inside
and 600 kids probably.
Definitely.
We're going to get into some other questions here. There's a lot of questions that people wrote in, and we're going to talk about how our personal relationship is structured. But first, what was your favorite Corp Bro video that you acted in?
There was one that we filmed, I think it was like 2016, and it was the Call Blitz video. Mm-hmm. And you made
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, maybe we could put a little clip of it, but you made me do this thing where I was being dragged across the office floor.
You were a slain sales rep.
Yes, and it was across a carpet, and I got really bad, like pants what's it called when you
Rug burn?
Rug burn. I got such bad rug burn, and you just kept making us redo it and redo it.
That's because you were smiling, and a dead
so
person isn't
funny.
smiling.
I'm a really bad dead person. It turns
That was
out.
you had no lines. You were just supposed to be dragged across the floor. Like you had a phone around your neck and you were just like slumped over. Because, you know, it was a call. We were reenacting the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan where all the soldiers are getting lit up. And this was the call blitz of 2012.
It was chaos. It was so hard not to laugh. Everyone was having such a good time doing it. And I was just, I kept getting in trouble.
Getting rug burn on your ass.
Yeah.
And you were just smiling the whole time. I was like, you can't smile.
It was so bad.
Stop
it was a great
smiling.
one. Anyways, that was probably my favorite.
So let's tell the story really quick on how we got started working together.
It was this summer, so school year had just ended, and you were filming Sales Are Dope down in LA. And I was like, wow, I haven't had a summer with like no future plans in a while. Came down, spent a lot of time with you on set.
Because you had decided to leave.
Oh, yeah. I decided at the end of the year.
Yeah, you did not want to run that school anymore.
I needed something different.
Right. You were miserable, and therefore I was miserable. And I was like, babe, you got to get out. You got to get out.
Sure.
That's true.
Okay, yeah, we
That's
were
true.
pretty
You would come home and you would
by the
trauma
end.
dump all over
There
me,
was
and
a
I'd be
lot
like,
of
"Are you
trauma.
kidding me?"
So I went down to LA when you were filming Sales Are Dope. Just felt like, okay, I'm going to check out what this world is like. Spend some time on set. You, Nat, Rohan, Raj.
Hollywood. You know, Hollywood shit.
I feel like I was more in the way than actually helpful. But anyways, while we were there, we started to figure out like there's a lot more to what you can be doing than just like the acting part of Corporate Bro, like partnerships and monetization. And we're like, you know what? Let's give this a shot. Like, what are some cool brands you want to work with? Let me just try. What is a media kit? Like, I don't know. So I just did a little learning, did a little like trial by fire, and we just kind of went for it. Do you remember I said I'd only do it for like 2 months? I was like, let's just treat this like a summer internship.
The piece of it was like I had a virtual assistant at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it was taking me so much longer to explain what I needed from them than just to do it myself. And I was like, who can I trust? And obviously, there you are. And, you know, there's no one obviously that I trust more than you to act on my behalf.
Anyways, fast forward, and here we are still today.
Here we are today. We'll get more into the nitty gritty of how we actually operationalize and systematize the business. But first, we have an audio submission sent to us. We are going to play it. We have not heard it yet.
I'm nervous.
And I don't know what they're going to ask us.
Dear Demoted, big Motorhead over here. I'd like to remain anonymous for this call just so I don't get fired, but basically just wanted to give Becca a huge shout out for being the backbone of the Corp Bro Universe, between flying down to Culver City during the SAD shoot for emotional and dietary support, as well as opening up your home for the entire cast and crew just so we could get a 2-second shot and eat a bunch of borscht. That was V-tight of you. Anyway, remaining anonymous, I know there have been some questionable and or embarrassing videos that I may or may not have been a part of over the years, and a lot of people watch those. What was it like when Ross first started posting some of these questionable videos? Was it embarrassing for you and your family? How has your perspective changed since you officially became part of the company? This is Ben, by the way. Wait, shit.
Okay, so shout out to Ben. Like, anonymous. Okay, so Ben has been a right-hand man in Corp Bro for a long time until he moved away like a selfish asshole. Now he lives in Boston, but, you know, still helps on the writing, still works on Silly Valley News. Thanks for that, Ben.
Thanks for that, Ben. Those were some good questions. Like, there were definitely some clips early on where you were like in outfits that I was like, oh, is that something like that you should be posting? But at first it was so small. Like, no one really followed you. It didn't really matter what you were
I wore one of your
there.
thongs in a video.
Yeah, that was actually, you were kind of a decent size following at that point.
Yeah, that was during COVID.
Yeah. I didn't love that
People
one.
saw some butt cheeks in
there
that
were
video.
Some butt cheeks in that video. I don't even think I realized that you were going to do that. I think you kind of went through my drawer and picked those out yourself.
The red lacy ones.
Yeah.
You still have those? Or did I ruin those?
Those are ruined. They don't fit the same after you squeezed your...
After my cake got
after your cake took over.
Got up in there.
Yep. But Ben, there were definitely some videos earlier on where I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, no one's seeing this. It's fine. And then there were some, as he got bigger and as we started to do brands, I think that's what really started to change, where I was like, some of this is not brand safe. Like, you can't say that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can.
I would say 99% of what Ross puts out there is just what Ross wants to put out there. I'd say I maybe have you take down or like think differently about the other 1%.
Yeah, it's nice to have a censor and a filter out there, a voice of reason, because I'm just like, nah, man, I got to do what I want. I'm an artist. So there's nothing that's like, I haven't, truly ruined this family yet But let's go into now how our personal relationship is structured, because we do have structure to it. Mm-hmm. It's intentional.
I mean, I think when you've been with someone for like 18 years, your communication, your sense of who they are is just so strong. Like, I think the number one tenet of our relationship is we're really good communicators with one another. Like, I remember sometimes there are friends that are like, oh, I don't know if I want to tell my, partner that. I'm like, he knows everything. Like, I feel like I know everything about you. You know everything about me.
I never really understood that, because I'll have friends who are like too scared to ask their significant other something about it. Can I do this or like that? I'm like, what? Like, that's a weird topic. I'm like, there is no weird topic.
No, we've talked about it all.
Well, no, I think it's interesting, because there are people put limits on their relationship and what can be talked about. I just think that's like, I mean, candidly, to me, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
If you don't feel like you can be open about literally anything and everything. Like, yeah, you can know some topics are hot button topics, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't talk about them. In fact, you probably should speak about them more.
Yeah. I think communication for me would be like, that's the number one kind of strength of the way we structure our relationship. What would you say?
Sharing responsibility is a big one. Like, we have different lines and different things that we are responsible for. I don't believe any relationship is ever truly 50-50. It always fluctuates. Mm-hmm. I mean, in an ideal world, it's 50-50, but there are some days where it's 90-10, and then there's some days where it's 10-90, mm-hmm. and it goes back and forth. But I think, for example, you hit Trader Joe's.
Love me some Trader Joe's.
You hit Trader Joe's, and I cooked the Trader Joe's.
I can't cook for shit. I'd be so hungry if it was just me.
Chef Corp just in the kitchen, just shaking a stir fry,
Yeah.
Can you chop some onions for me, babe? So underneath communication, and perhaps above most things, finances. I think we started out being very open and honest about what our finances are. I think we're lucky in that we both have very similar spending habits.
Yeah.
Like, we're pretty frugal. We'll spend on things that we like and want, and we'll throw money at certain problems. Mm-hmm. The other piece is when we work in very different fields and we're making very, I'll say, drastically different amounts of money.
Yeah, totally. Public schools compared to sales, very different.
Right. But I think we both wanted to contribute. We weren't going to punish each other for working in different fields. Like, honestly, you were contributing far more to society than I was. But we wanted our percentages to be equal. Mm-hmm. So we opened a joint account, 85%. So therefore, proportionally, we were both always contributing the same amount. 15% would go to our personal accounts. You could spend whatever you want to spend on personal accounts.
Yeah. And we kind of felt like most of our expenses were joint. We wanted to be able to support in that like joint capacity. Individual was more like, this is something I want to buy for me, or this is an experience that's like me and my girls.
Yeah. Or I want to go, play golf with the boys, or I want to buy, a bunch of weed because I like smoking it. We
that was a joint experience.
Nice. But that's how we structure our finances. And I think we constantly check in. We talk about finances with each other weekly.
Oh yeah.
Probably. Not an ad, but we use this app called Monarch, which I highly recommend. It's like $100 a year. Tracks you can link all your accounts, from your crypto to your banks to your credit cards to pretty much everything. They're even working on like a Carta integration right now, and it's free to add a person to it. And we just track our expenses.
Yeah, and you can put goals for each category. Yeah. I think that's been really helpful.
We want to buy a house one day. God willing.
Would love to buy a house.
God willing.
But it's helpful, like, just to really see it and talk about it and not feel like anything has to be hidden. Like, you see fully what I'm looking at, and the transparency, I think, for us has been really important.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm in the weeds looking at every single transaction of yours, but like, I want to see that we're going up in a given month, or like, why is our credit card bill so high?
Totally.
Right. And I think, again, we have shared goals. It's important to understand like the group finances, because we both want to buy a house. We both want to be rich enough to not work anymore one day. Like, we're all working towards something. And I think that, again, comes from open and honest communication. So that's a huge piece of it.
Yeah. And one thing that comes with this, like, goal setting is not just like how much we're trying to spend in each category of finances, but also thinking about like, okay, what are our incentives? What are our financial incentives? Do you want to share what your structure has been for the past year? Maybe how that shifted?
Yeah. Well, so for a long time, since I was kind of getting into the whole speaking game, and now I've been fortunate enough, I've done hundreds and hundreds of speaking engagements, but I would reward myself every time with a pair of Jordans. So the Jordans were basically trophies for each event that I would do.
Yeah, we've run out of shoebox space, but
I've graduated to watches now.
A little scarier.
That's not for the speaking stuff. That's like if we hit certain revenue targets on the year, then I can get a watch. you know, I got to, you know, it's no different than sales, right? It's like, you know, I'm trying to earn my own version of Prez Club. I'm trying to spiff myself into doing really well. So I earn something tasty that I want.
I know. And that's still so foreign for me that I'm like, oh, we did really well this quarter.
Should we go out to dinner?
Yeah. Like, let's go to dinner and maybe we'll let Dex, like our dog, go to an extra day of dog daycare next week. Like I'm so not used to this like Prez Club or these, I don't know, metrics that then earn something. So I'm still embracing it.
She's still embracing the sales life.
Yeah. So we talked about like financial check-ins and how we do those regularly, but I actually think something that makes our relationship kind of unique is our like daily check-ins. Do you want to talk about those?
No, that you can talk about this. This is purely driven by Becca, and I am a willing participant.
Sometimes you drive them.
Sometimes, not often. You drive. Tell them what we do.
I think the day can just, even though we work together, we spend so much time together.
We do work in separate offices.
Oh, that's actually really critical. We'll get to that for sure. But at the end of the day, I always want to hear, and I think it's helpful for myself to reflect too, like what was my highlight of the day and what was your highlight of the day? And so every night before bed, we have a little highlight conversation.
What was our highlight? It can be something as simple as when you did blank for me to I played the best golf round ever.
Yeah. And like sometimes it's really, I don't know, or sometimes you'll point something out to me like, oh, what about this today? Like, I thought you were really happy when like this happened. And it's just nice, like reflect on the day with
And you journal.
somebody. Yeah, I journal.
You journal, you write, you track all these things.
Sometimes the next morning I'm like, what did I say my highlight was?
Yeah, because I know you're filling that in. You do that every single morning. Regular date nights, we mix in a date night.
We're not really that fancy though. We're much more of like, let's cook something at home or like check out a local neighborhood restaurant.
Make some Manhattans. We love Manhattans.
Manhatties.
We make a lot of Manhatties. Becca makes a great Manhattie. We'll go to our local restaurants from time to time, grab a cocktail.
Yeah.
You know, we got that going for us. Now, we also have some shared interests, which have come together over time. And we can go through this really quickly. I think fitness, we both work out. We're on the same lifting program. So we just alternate. We get 30 seconds rest and the other person is hitting the lift. And I think we lift like 4 times a week. Mm-hmm. We both are big into fantasy football generally. Like we have Red Zone Sundays. We invite friends over. We cook breakfast for people. We just like hosting.
Go Niners.
And I've just been, it's fun teaching Becca how to play fantasy football and just absolutely
Oh
dominating
my gosh.
her.
Excuse me.
She doesn't know a lot about football.
Check. I won the league last year. I'm the only woman in the league and the reigning champion.
She's also currently sitting in last place because she said
details.
Quote,
it's
she
early
said,
in
quote,
the season.
I won last year. I don't need to do research.
No, the real truth is I got first draft pick and CMC was not the right move because of his obvious injury. And so my team is a little bit suffering without our star player.
Well,
anyways,
neither here nor there.
We're okay. We're going through it.
We share a dog. His name is Dexley. We'll show him right here. He's a golden doodle because we're a white couple in San Francisco. So it's the only way for us to operate.
He looks like a horse. There was a Spanish speaking family that walked by the other day and the kid was like, Mira el caballo. It's like, oh, it's not a horse, but it looks like one.
Like, that's not a caballo, kid. Get away from me.
Okay. We also we golf.
We golf
I think
together.
that's like one of the things that we do because we work a lot and because we'll talk more about that. But sometimes it's nice to just like get out during the day and be like, oh, we actually have a chunk of time. Like,
let's go golf.
Let's go hit the course.
Let's go play G. We'll do that at the end of like quarters and stuff.
But we don't do everything together or else we would probably go crazy.
No, yeah, I'll lose my mind.
Yeah. What are some things that you do that are just you?
So I play a baseball team, soccer team. We do boys nights. Boys go hit a steakhouse. I play a lot of video games with the boys too.
I'm also like the Dungeons and Dragons, all those things.
I love Dungeons and I love Dragons.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, now what do you like?
I mean, I like to take my own workout classes. I like to go on walks with friends. I still run a program once a week for students, ICANN Academy. So I feel like that's still a really important part.
Yeah, really quick. Just give the quick rundown on that.
8 years ago, I realized it's really hard for first-gen middle school students to apply to independent high schools across the Bay Area. So I started a program to help students navigate the process from like financial aid to parent. I write like the parent essays alongside parents and interview prep and SSAT, all that stuff. And now I've got kiddos all across the Bay Area and throughout college. My oldest kid's a senior in college this year, going to be graduating.
First one about to graduate
Davis.
from Davis.
Can't wait.
We love that.
That's a big part of me though. And I think that takes some time away from regular routine.
Yeah, I mean, let's mix in the book club and let's mix in just shitty reality TV.
Okay,
Love Island?
I just finished Love Island USA. I don't know how it had 37 episodes.
How
it
do
did
you
not
people
need
watch that
It
shit?
was so much. I just had to keep up with my friends. They finished like a month and a half ago, and it took me way too long. But
I come in to check on you in between video games, and I just hear these conversations on the TV. I'm like,
brain rot
I can't even
sometimes,
be here.
totally
I
brain
can't
rot.
even be here right now. Okay, let's move to our professional relationship.
Great.
How do we structure it?
Well, in the beginning, we were having like way more check-ins. A big part was like, I didn't even speak the language of what these companies were asking for. Jargon. I was like writing down all these acronyms in phone calls I was taking, be like, hey, what did that mean when they said this? But now that we've like really figured it out, we're like 2.5 years into working together. We're down to quarterly meetings. Do you want to talk about what our
we still do like Monday, like coffee, like what do we got to get done this week?
We
still do those.
We still do those, but we're not as like, I feel like we're able to be in our own lanes a whole lot more now. Yep. We do Monday meetings, just like go over what we've got coming up, we've got on the calendar, whatever. And then quarterly meetings are a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, our quarterly meetings are no different than quarterly sales meetings. What do we do? What did we not do? What are our goals? We've got our goals each quarter, and if we hit them, we reward ourselves with certain things. We go to this place called Lakma, which is a Turkish restaurant near us. They have an amazing Turkish breakfast. We don't really eat breakfast, but this is the one day of the quarter we eat breakfast, and it's like this, we get the pancakes, we get the whole Turkish breakfast, which has like different hummus, like, I don't know what you call it, like sweet hummus, savory hummus.
Anyways, if you haven't been,
it's so
Turkish
good.
breakfast, 10 out of 10. But I think in those meetings, that's really important for us is we're talking about like, first we separate like what was really great in our business relationship this quarter, meaning like what deals were we excited about? Like what went really well?
What opportunities did we get? Like,
and then also like what are the business goals for next quarter? And I print out all the stuff we had said the previous quarter. So we're like reflecting on what that looked like.
Yeah, she comes strapped with like a whole presentation.
I've got the highlighter.
She runs it. She takes the notes and
school leader.
And
then we also talk about like what were things that worked really well in terms of our relationship and like working together, like almost like what was our, I don't know, one of my goals, for example, I'll be honest, it's really hard. I don't have a creative brain in the same way Ross does. And so I didn't understand that Ross gets into these like creative zones. And when he's interrupted, all of a sudden he can't come back. So one of the things that he was really honest with me about was like, hey, let's set times that are like, this is our check-in time because otherwise my creative process goes. So at the end of the quarter, we're like, okay, did you feel like you had more creative brain time? How'd that go for you?
How'd that go for me?
I don't know. We have our Lockman date tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. Our next quarterly check-in is tomorrow. So we'll get that done. I also just think we do different things.
Totally.
Fundamentally different things. Like I can't do what you do, which is great. And you can't really do what I do, which is great and bad. I mean, it'll be like, I need some help. Like, what's a good joke here? And you're like, I didn't work in sales. Totally. Or like, I don't work in tech. Like, I can't tell you there. You'll help me find trends. You'll help me find sounds and things like that. And similarly, like we have a smart board in my office with like deals in process, brand deals, like where are we at scripting or where are we at editing, where are we at delivery, who's paid us, who hasn't, what's outstanding. It's just like salespeople who write, their revenue goals and they start tracking their deals and so forth. It's the exact same thing. And you come in the morning, you update those things. You'll write a little to-do list for me so I can go up there and erase that shit and feel accomplished.
Yeah. And I think one more thing is that we do have separate spaces and that's so important. Like he has his own office space. I have my own office space. Mine's a whole lot cleaner and a whole lot more organized. And his is filled with costumes and shoes and tech gear everywhere. And it's a little bit dangerous when you walk in there. But I do think our separate spaces lets us kind of be.
Yeah. And I think the other piece is we, in our calls, don't really tell people we're married.
True. I don't use my last name. I just think that once you know us and you're like in our inner circle, you're a Moterhead, then you get to know us. It helps us keep like a boundary, a professional line that it's a whole lot easier to just be an outsider at first.
Yeah.
And
you've also managed a couple other creators, so it doesn't really, like you do have other folks that you work with, but I also think part of it is just keeping that delineation of professionalism.
And I like that once we've had a partner that we've worked with for a really long time, or like we're in an in-person event, like we get to like let them in on that. And I think that that's just like a way for us to kind of build trust and build that relationship. And it's not something we need to lead with. Like,
yeah. I mean, we've been outed before because of our dog. Our dog went from her office to my office on the same call. You're listed as Rebecca Leslie on calls because that's your maiden middle name. Mm-hmm. And so nobody really puts it together. A couple partners have put it together, like when we had to take a call on one computer and apparently we were awkwardly close. They call
also,
me
we don't mean to hide. Like, it's not like we're not telling the truth. Like, I think as it comes up, and that's great. I just think it's like, I'm my own person, you're your own person. And it's a nice way to just like be seen.
And when you say you got to check in with me at 2 p.m., you're serious.
Oh, I absolutely
We have a check-in at 2 p.m. She's not going to walk to the other room and interrupt my creative time because I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
I got to stay in that zone. So I don't know. It is interesting. Like there's a lot of things that cross over. It's not always easy. There's pros and cons of working together. It helps that like pros, we're on the same team. Like we have each other's best interests at heart, obviously, because it helps the, personal unit grow. Right. I think The communication's really easy. Again, like we're walking to the gym, we can talk about work. We're going to dinner, we can talk about work. We're at dinner, we can talk about work. Which again, I know some people would be like, that sounds terrible, but the way work is sort of transformed in general, many people are working from home, right? The information transfer is just easier. It's candidly and sorry, it's one of the arguments of why return to office is good, because when you walk to lunch together, you can have those conversations and ideas, and that's great for us. It works for us.
And we get to we can build our own schedule, so we can actually say like, hey, this day we're not going to be doing work stuff, but we'll do work the next day, and we'll work Saturday, we'll work whatever. But like, because it's just the two of us, we can be in charge of building that schedule.
We do have rules of no work questions after 9 p.m.
Yeah, that was definitely, that came out of a quarterly check-in.
That came out of a quarterly check-in. Stop asking me questions after 9 p.m. I'm trying to get the anxiety out of my head.
Yeah, I also will say, I think that one of the pros to working together is that we've had so many years of being professionals without working together and having built all these like skill sets and experiences and apart from being on the same team, that now we can actually bring those to our team.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course the cons, it's hard to turn off.
Really hard to turn off.
It's hard to stop thinking about it, and you know, it can be all consuming.
Perspective, right? Like, yes, it can be all consuming, but it's also like, it's all going to work out. It's okay. It's not like we're putting out fires. The sense of urgency is so different. I think that's something I've been able to bring coming from schools to this world. Like, okay, that brand video is going to go out tomorrow. We're going to be okay. Like,
yeah. Fires in tech, fires in like content creation are not real fires.
No,
we'll be all right. We'll be all right. We'll be all right.
I think you put on the Demoted story. I actually didn't even realize it was up there, that you had asked people for some questions. Mm-hmm. So here's some that we got. What has been the biggest surprise about working with your spouse?
I mean, in this case, just how easy it has been for me. Like the transition was very seamless. You know, obviously there's a slight learning curve. You mentioned the acronyms and so forth, but that's like, you know, that's a super small thing that we're already over. We were over that in the first 2 weeks.
I would say I learned like you're a whole lot smarter than I thought. Like, I thought you were always like, the content that you were doing was like fun, and I knew you were creative in like that part of your brain, but I didn't realize how much of like the strategy and the consulting and the partnership that was going into each of those videos and collabs. So yeah.
Wow, babe. Okay.
I learned about your brain.
Have you guys always handled conflict in a progressive manner?
We don't really fight or argue. We have disagreements. We don't always see eye to eye, but I kind of think we've always just talked through things.
Yeah, I would say we don't have blowout fights.
Yeah.
We have moments where we don't like each other and I don't want to be around you and you don't want to be around me, and that's fine.
But we're going to figure it out.
I am a lot more petulant than you are. Like
say that a little loud.
You're always just like, okay, can we just figure this out? And I'm like, no, I need to hate you for the next 30 minutes before I'm going to be ready. Like, just let me go through this period of just being a little bitch, and like, let me.
Remember when I found you on the floor?
Which time?
Sometimes he has a little temper tantrum, but we're going to work it out.
She's like, are you done? Are you done having a temper tantrum? And I'm like, it's lose-lose. I can say yes, and I'm admitting I'm having a temper tantrum, or I can say no, and I'm having a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
I don't want to have one.
But one of our rules is like, we don't go to bed angry, and I feel like that kind of guides that conflict resolution. Like, we're going to figure it out.
It's like our arguments are pretty small.
Okay, this person wrote, how do you set boundaries?
Early, and you just have to keep bringing them up.
Yeah, early and often.
Early and often, yeah. Like, again, it's so lame, it's so cliche, it all starts with communication. And when you open the doors for any and all communication, like, being able to adjust, being able to set the boundaries, being able to evolve the boundaries is not hard. To answer the question, it's early and often.
Yeah.
Are you always laughing, or does he piss you off? Laugh face.
He's funny, but he's not that funny. Like, I've just kind of learned to tune out, I don't know, 50% of the stuff that comes out of his mouth. He is constantly just yapping. But I have to say, I made an Instagram account. I've never posted on it. That was going to be like what it's like to live and be married to Ross, was basically the premise, because he's so weird. And he does the weirdest things around the house, singing and dancing and voices. And anyways, I actually think the part that makes me laugh the most is not the stuff that most people get to see on camera.
And we'll never get to see on
one
camera.
Day. This one's a good one. Thoughts on couples that have met and work for the same company?
Well, I think the nice thing is that you have perspective on what each other go through. Mm-hmm. I think that was actually one of the hard parts about us working in such different fields. It's like I could try, but I couldn't really empathize with the shit that your kids were going through, that like teachers were going through, the stuff that day to day that an educator goes through, which I obviously conceptually knew. I was like, this is way harder and way more important than anything I have to deal with. But like when we're home, I would just be like, why do we have to talk about work? I don't even want to talk about work.
And it's all I could think about. Yeah, I think it's a great way. I think people meet that way, find common, experiences are one way that people meet and fall in love. I think it's great.
You should still have a discussion on what you want in your professional lives. you may not want to stay at the same company. You may want to go different ways. You may want different things within the company. I don't know if these people are working together, like both in sales or one's marketing, one's sales, doing different functions, different things. But I think that's an example where you do need to have a conversation early and be like, what do we want? Like, what are our goals here? Are we going to try to stay together because we work at the same company, or are we going to have very different and intentional ambitions and aspirations? Yeah. Is there a work/sex balance between married couples working together?
There should be. I think it's important.
What?
I mean, I don't understand people that are married and, aren't spending any extra time together,
You don't understand the couples that are banging.
I'm turning so red.
I mean, yeah. Do we role play the boss like?
My parents are definitely listening to this episode.
Do we role play the boss thing? Yes. If that's what you're asking.
Do we think it's unhealthy when our friends tell us that they're not spending?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It's sad. I don't wish that on anyone. I would say we have a very healthy work-sex balance.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Okay. They heard about the hand job you gave me on a plane, so it's fine.
No, they might have missed that one.
Okay, you can read the last question.
Oh my God. Are you jealous of Ross's relationship with his doctor? I think you've known that doctor longer than you've known me.
Yeah, actually.
I was not jealous.
You were not jealous of that?
No, I was kind of happy for you.
You were happy for me? This is a reference to the prostate exam that my doctor gave me.
Did you tell
that I was not ready for?
Yeah, and the way you called and told me that story, you were so traumatized. You couldn't even finish the sentence. You were like, I have to go. I'm driving home. I think I'll tell you when I get home. I've always wanted to do Promoted, Demoted.
This is Do We Like It? Do We Not Like It? And we'll give a little excerpt, a little thought about each said thing. All right, so I will start. Promoted, Demoted, prenup agreements.
I know this is, for some people, really controversial. For us, it was like absolutely duh we were going to do it. I think it's great conversations. Like, I know people that have decided they weren't going to sign it in the end, but at least like had the conversations. I think it teaches you a lot. I think it's really healthy. I'm going to promote it.
Yeah, I'm going to promote it. I mean, it is like so pragmatic. It is like functional. It's the right thing to do. Now
we've had not sexy. I'll definitely say that.
Yeah, it's not sexy, but it also has not. You're just setting up for the end. No, you're not. You're setting up for reality. Like, you never know what's going to happen in life. Like, shit could happen. Like, it's the prudent thing to do.
Big floofs.
Big floof. Big floofstein. Big wild.
Honk a hoot.
Honk and hoot. That's our dog Dex. He's got a lot of nicknames. We mentioned he's basically a dog with 4 French fries for legs.
Squidward.
We call him Squidward, Squiddy.
Poor guy. Identity crisis.
Big wildness.
Promote, duh.
Hard promote. All right, promote. Talk about your fantasy football league to non-league people. Guilty. We already done it.
Yeah, all the
Promoted.
time.
You guys love it.
Sorry.
I'm like in 3rd. I think Becca's in 10th.
No, stop.
That's fine. It's week 5, 6. No, it's way later than when this comes out.
Oh, okay. Guys, by this time, I'm definitely in the lead.
Yeah. All right, promoted, demoted, couple workout sessions.
Promote. I think that's like one of the ways we really enjoy spending time together. For us. Promote for us. Do you.
Your squat and deadlift has gotten so much better, too. We love to see it.
I really had no form in the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, we got through it. I think a lot of people, especially women, like they get nervous in the gym. They're like, I don't want to lift weights. That sounds like
I didn't know how.
Yeah.
Hard promote.
All right. Promoted, demoted, engagement photo shoots.
I feel like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. We didn't go the formal route. We got a family friend to do it. Promoted. They're like them.
So corny.
I know.
They're so corny.
I know, but you just gotta do it.
I was so mad that whole process.
He had a little temper tantrum.
Now put your arms around me. Now look at each other. Now smile. Now give each other a kiss. Now wait, hold on. The waves are crashing. Like, fuck that. God, it sucked. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did it. I hated it.
He's about to promote it.
I hate it. No, I'm going to promote it. Obviously, I'm going to promote it. Duh. What? Why would I not promote it?
Long distance relationships in college.
Demoted.
Ooh, it's so different now. We didn't have all the social media that's happening.
Yeah.
For us, I think it made our communication stronger. I'm going to promote it.
Yeah. Well, which part? The part where we were together or the part where we weren't together?
I'm going to promote.
All right. Promoted, demoted, quarantining with me.
Some days I'd promote it. Some days I'd demote it, especially the day that you took my underwear and filmed a video. I would promote it. I had such a good time. It was
90% with you and 10% playing video games with the boys and never leaving my house. And it was fucking
in our
incredible.
Little 1-bedroom.
If there's any dudes out there who played Call of Duty and used to drop into Verdansk back in those days, 2020, God,
See, this is where I stopped listening. Anyways.
Okay.
Promoted, demoted, Facebook Marketplace hustling.
Nate Bargatze has a really good bit on this, but all the dudes think it. Becca is got to be a top sales lass on Facebook Marketplace. She's like, guess what? Just sold this book for $6. Yeah, bought it for $4. And I'm like, you brought a scary man to our front door so you can make $2? Yeah, I got rid of the book though. Okay, fair. but you really had to like, you're like, watch me on the camera in case I get snatched. I'm like, God damn it. Okay, I'm just going to walk down with you and stand menacingly in the corner in my PJs wearing a cutoff and barefoot while the boys are upstairs.
Sales are dope.
Sales
Although
are
I
dope.
will say when I sold everyone got workout equipment during COVID. Remember you had the bench press and all this stuff. You never used it. It was sitting in our garage.
That's not true. I use it all the time, but now I don't.
Well, you never use it now.
Yeah.
So I posted it. I sold it. And the person that picked it up recognized me in videos. I was like, oh my God, is this Corporate Bros workout stuff? And I was like, oh man, my Facebook hustling's no longer anonymous.
Well, you pumping Corporate Bros iron could be a real, novelty, sort of something you pay a premium for. All right, last one. Promoted, demoted, my Spanish skills.
I like that you try. I would promote them.
Yo entiendo, pero no hablar. No puedo
Le cuesta
hablar.
mucho hablar, pero entiende mucho.
I've been questioning mucho.
Yeah, I'd promote it.
What is that? What was the last thing you said? What does that mean?
I said, you understand a lot, but it's hard for you to talk.
It's hard for me to talk.
Yeah.
Yo entiendo.
I'm curious if the Motorheads would promote it, but I'd promote it.
Let's get to a couple Dear Demoteds. We'll get you guys up out of here and move on with our lives.
This one was submitted by somebody by the name of Sales Are Dope. The letter R, though.
Lovely.
Dear Demoted Pod, a question I wanted to throw out there, probably geared more towards Corp, is what would be your advice to someone looking to get out of tech sales if that's all that they've done in their professional career so far? For example, I just hit 5 years at the company I'm at, started as a BDR, was an AE for a few years, and now I'm in account management. I've been interested in pivoting to something like revenue operations, but find that my experience does not line up well and feel as though I've pigeonholed myself into only sales roles. Hoping this sparks a good combo, as I hear Corp sometimes talk about salespeople looking for a way out, but I never hear examples of how it's really done. Thanks.
Great question. Sales are dope. I think it's a few things. One is if you're going to get out of sales, you're probably going to have to take a small step back. You're probably going to have to get comfortable making less money. So those are two barriers that a lot of people really struggle with. The other piece is the networking. Candidly, and not to blow up my whole spot, but I wanted to move into marketing for a long time. And I was talking to the marketing team for 6 months. What projects of theirs could I take on? Could I get involved with so I could slowly work my way over there? It's the same thing with RevOps. There are some technical pieces, both to marketing, especially if it's demand gen or RevOps, that you do need. And I think it is possible to make that move, but you got to find what certifications do I need? What little pieces of knowledge can I learn elsewhere? In sales translates to everything at the end of the day, except for the technical pieces. So it's all about the story you tell. I mean, RevOps, I'm surprised that this is a huge leap. You can move towards sales ops and then bounce towards RevOps. It's kind of a windier path, but it can easily be done. It starts with networking internally. It starts with trying to find ways to get the skills that you're missing and do that ideally simultaneously with your other job and then making that leap.
We've had people pivot way later in their career.
Okay, quick. Let's do a couple shout outs for people, get a review,
I love
close
these.
the door, get the hell out of here. Do you want to just hit the first one?
The first one's shorter. I'm going to let you read that one.
Okay. This one is from Joshua. Hey guys, massive shout out to my wife, Lyd, from down here in Australia. Love you, Babs. Hashtag Moterheads for life. Look at that. Across the world, the upside down part of the world. We got fans down there.
For his wife. That's so nice.
Love that.
Okay, this is also from Josh, a different Josh. Hey guys, was super stoked to hear Ross will be doing an episode next week with his wife. Oh, that's so nice. About working with your partner. Both my girlfriend and I are big old Motorheads. Yes. She turned me on the pod a while back. We watch it religiously every Tuesday night together while dreading the rest of the week at work. We also work at the same company, although not directly together. It helps to have your partner understand the day-to-day absurdity that no one else would outside the company.
Facts.
Just looking forward to your episode. Hope we didn't let him down. And what you guys have to say about co-working with your other half. Thinking out loud, if your coworker is your SO, do you call them your SO worker?
Your SO worker?
Your SO worker?
You could.
Also, my girlfriend doesn't know I'm sending this, so she'd be stoked to get a little shout out. Her name is Maddie, aka Love Ball. Keep the pod coming. It's a necessity for so many of us. Josh S. Josh S., thanks for submitting that. That's so sweet.
Love Ball.
Maddie, he loves you.
He loves you, you little love ball, you.
A little love
Mads.
Ball. I do think we should read, only because I've watched you guys read so many of them, and as someone that can actually read, I'd like to read the review.
Please.
Okay, Hemsy002. Hilarious. Even the ads are entertaining. 5 stars. Y'all are hilarious. Nat, we miss you. I even find myself laughing through your ads, and I now buy a bag of Chomps at Costco every week thanks to you.
You hear that, Chomps? That's called ROI.
Love some ROI. This is coming from someone who's normally a skip ahead through podcast ads girly. Thanks for validating my experiences in the corporate world and for the 10 out of 10 weekly entertainment.
Thank you, Hemsy002.
We love you. Thanks for being a Motorhead.
As always, like, comment, subscribe. Make sweet, sweet love to that subscribe button. Take it out to dinner.
Maybe give it a pet name.
Give it a pet name. Give it a performance review. Bang it in between meetings and set it on its way.
Keep emailing us. Keep sending us your Dear Demoteds, your corporate confessions. Contact at demotedpodcast.com.
Send shout outs. Comment on Spotify. We love you guys. Our next episode will be Halloween themed. So Natalie and I will be back in these bags. We will be in costume. Our Halloween costumes, which I'm sure will be a treat for everybody who actually watches on Spotify or watches on YouTube. With that, babe, thanks for being a part of this.
Thanks
I'm glad
for having
everybody
me.
gets to see how cool you are and not just hear you calling out to me to not say certain things from behind the camera. Now everybody knows who my better half is and why the biz is absolutely thriving. So with that, we will see all of you next time on
Demoted.